Things got messy around Real Madrid, and it all started with Kylian Mbappe.
Now, you may be wondering, what is going on with Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid?
According to The Athletic, during a training session, Mbappe got into a heated argument with a member of Arbeloa's staff. The situation happened during a drill where the staff member was acting as an assistant referee and called Mbappe offside. What a surprise, Donatello made a run early, shades of his first El Clasico. According to sources, Mbappe reacted angrily and used some insulting language. I guess maybe it's not all that surprising. Do you guys remember a while back at PSG when he got subbed out by Tuchel? He just lost it. Then there was another incident in his last season at PSG where he basically just grabbed the cup out of one of the assistant coach's hands. Mbappe the dictator's outburst did not go down well with the people inside and around the club. Staff members and even representative of other players have criticized both him and the club, mainly because they feel the situation should have been handled more seriously. And then, another detail resurfaced. Mbappe took a trip to Italy with his partner. You guys ever see this girl on Netflix? She had more nude scenes than your local porn star. On its own, it's a harmless story. Mbappe eating some good food and some good ass. But with everything going on, it became another story. Another point of criticism. Another reason for people to question his focus.
Because he's got a girlfriend who is a Spanish actress called Esther Exposito. And he took her away to Sardinia for a couple of days last week. Now this has created a storm amongst Real Madrid fans, because Real Madrid fans are furious and they are saying, what the hell is Kylian Mbappe doing? He's supposed to be a Real Madrid player. This is the business end of the season.
Arbeloa, for the most part, according to sources, has tried to distance himself from the situation. But behind the scenes, it's been said that he isn't happy with how the club handled everything. As Xabi Alonso found out himself, you're not a manager at Real Madrid, you're a babysitter. Mbappe's camp responded to the criticism, saying that a lot of it is being blown out of proportion. They claim it's based on misunderstandings around a recovery period that was fully supervised by the club, and that it doesn't reflect Mbappe's actual commitment or daily work.
Kylian Mbappe has responded to a fresh wave of criticism in Spain, insisting he remains fully committed to recovering from his latest injury.
But the narrative was already moving, and that's because it wasn't an isolated case of drama behind the scenes. Rudiger clashed with a first-team player. According to reports, it was Carreras. It was another heated argument, another moment of tension. The player has since apologized and even invited teammates and their families out for lunch to smooth things over, according to The Athletic. Still, the pattern is hard to ignore. Tchouaméni and Valverde got into multiple fights reportedly. The second fight actually caused Valverde to have to go to the hospital. There's also been tension between Arbeloa and Carreras. Members of the coaching staff have raised concerns about Carreras' attitude and professionalism, although people close to the player have pushed back against those claims. All of this has led to a pretty negative atmosphere at the club, according to multiple reports. The mood around the first team is described as worrying, and there doesn't seem to be much unity. Several players are reportedly unhappy, which only adds to the concern. From Friendship FC, good vibes, UCL winners, to back-to-back trophyless seasons with Kylian Mbappe. Is Mbappe really the sole person responsible for this downfall? Is it really all the dictator's fault? Millions of Madrid fans apparently think so, because they signed a petition to get rid of Mbappe. Wait till the dictator finds out about this.
On the pitch, his goal-scoring record has been superb, but Madrid fans have launched a petition to get rid of the striker, which has now had more than 30 million signatories.
Mbappe might have only been at Madrid for a couple of seasons now, but his journey there has been a story on its own. From missing penalties,
it's Kylian Mbappe, and come on, makes the save!
to scoring hat
Players
tricks.
involved in that 50-50, back on their feet again. This is Mbappe! 1-1. Here's Goulet. Free header, 2-1. And it's Mbappe again. Oh yes, well-timed run. Flag stays down. Could be the hat-trick. Is the hat-trick for Kylian Mbappe.
From not knowing how to stay onside,
I mean, when somebody is getting caught offside as much as that, ridiculous in the end.
to putting up Cristiano Ronaldo-esque numbers.
But we're talking about a guy that at any minute can unlock any situation and any defense.
Because Mbappe does things that like other players cannot do.
Somebody who's seen
semi-human at times because he is so talented.
You know, this is what you want to see. This is why you put your TV on.
He is an all-round superstar.
Best player in the world, maybe the future best player in the world.
I mean, the sky is the limit for him.
From being called Donatello to winning the European Golden Boot, the man has been scoring for fun, yet nobody seems to care. Many Madrid fans argue that Mbappe's individual success is coming at the expense of the team as a whole. It doesn't help that the team that Mbappe left have become better without him. PSG won everything there was to win as soon as Mbappe was gone. Meanwhile, Madrid went from being on top of the world in 2024 to back-to-back seasons of not looking great as soon as the turtle arrived. It's so weird to see because Mbappe's move to Madrid was literally one of the most anticipated transfers in football history. It seemed like he was always destined to wear the iconic white jersey of Real Madrid. For years, it was basically an open secret that he wanted to become a Madridista. How can anyone be shocked? The man was speaking fluent Spanish in his first press conference. But he must have had the craziest Duolingo streak back in Paris. You see, Perez had identified Mbappe as the next Galactico years ago, back when he was just 17 years old, leading Monaco to a deep Champions League run. Then at 19 years old, he helped France lift the World Cup, which 10x'd his hype. We hadn't seen a teenager put on that sort of a performance on the biggest stage since Pele. The pursuit for Mbappe was long and at times agonizing for Madrid fans. In 2021, the dream seemed closer than ever. Mbappe only had 1 year left on his PSG contract, and Madrid launched a colossal bid to secure his services. But the footballing world watched as PSG stood firm, rejecting the offer and refusing to part with their star. For Mbappe, who was a lifelong admirer of Real Madrid and a massive Cristiano Ronaldo fanboy, it was a moment of frustration. He had also openly admitted his desire to join Los Blancos, fueling the belief that his move was inevitable. But then came the twist that stunned everyone. In 2022, just as Madrid fans were preparing for their star's arrival, Mbappe shocked the world by signing a lucrative contract extension with the Parisiens. The deal wasn't just about money, it came with promises of influence, control, and a chance to elevate PSG to new heights. Naturally though, it sparked controversy. People questioned whether he had traded ambition for comfort.
Not many get a chance to go to him, not many get a chance to go there as a Galactico, not many get a chance there to go there. And I think it's an awful shame for him that he's not going to do that. And for whatever reason, finances or home life or home country, whatever it is, he's decided not to do it. And I'm a little disappointed I'm not going to be seeing him playing in La Liga next year.
While Madrid fans felt betrayed. Even then though, deep down, many believed it was only a matter of time. The dream wasn't dead, just delayed. And then finally it happened.
Kylian Mbappé to Real Madrid. Here we go.
Well, he said it to the French President Emmanuel Macron a little bit earlier on today, and Kylian Mbappé and Real Madrid have been true to their word that one of the biggest football transfers in recent years would be announced tonight. And it has been announced tonight that Kylian Mbappé has joined the 15-time European champions.
The announcement of Mbappe's move to Real Madrid sent shockwaves through the footballing world. Social media erupted as fans celebrated the arrival of a generational talent. There were videos of happy Madrid fans flooding timelines, and the pundits were glazing Madrid.
And it has finally happened. It is officially official. Kylian Mbappé has signed with Real Madrid. They've even put out the famous Comunicado Oficial. That's how we know. Here's what he's had to say about it.
I mean, it was one of the biggest transfers in football history. It wasn't just a player signing for a club, it was a statement. A continuation of Real Madrid's tradition of acquiring the very best. Mbappe's arrival symbolized everything Real Madrid stood for. It drew comparisons to the previous Galactico eras. Figo, Zidane, R9, Beckham, and of course, Cristiano Ronaldo. By signing Mbappe, Madrid reaffirmed their place as the pinnacle of football, a club that every player dreams of representing. With the deal done, the weight of expectations only increased. Fans saw Mbappe as the face of Real Madrid for the next decade, a player who would help them dominate domestically and deliver another Champions League trophy. In fact, most people always saw Mbappe as the natural successor to the Ballon d'Or dynasty that was created by Messi and Ronaldo. So naturally, the media hype was relentless. He was seen as the crown jewel of a new Madrid dynasty. All the pundit talks were about him versus Haaland. It was the new Messi versus Ronaldo for people. The expectations were astronomical, and Mbappe wasn't just expected to succeed, he was expected to become a legend. So when he finally arrived and actually put on the jersey, everyone was excited. His presentation was attended by 80,000 spectators, the same number as Ronaldo's presentation back in 2009. You didn't have to look at photoshopped images of him anymore. This was the real deal. And the crazy part was that this happened 2 days after Madrid had just won the double. They announced his signing after becoming Champions League winners. There were Madrid fans who legit had erections lasting over 24 hours that week. But with great hype came immense pressure. Mbappe wasn't just joining Real Madrid, he was stepping into the void left by Cristiano Ronaldo. A void many people believe could never be filled. Could Mbappe live up to that legacy? Could he carry the weight of Madrid's history on his shoulders? The world was watching, and the global spotlight got brighter as Mbappe wore that iconic white jersey for the first time. His first performance actually matched the hype. Real Madrid defeated Atalanta in the UEFA Super Cup, with Mbappe scoring the second goal. First game, first goal, first trophy. Vini and Bellingham were both involved in Mbappe's goal, which gave Madrid fans a taste of what was to come. Mbappe's impact also extended beyond the pitch. He had boosted Madrid's brand value almost overnight. His jersey sales shattered records. Madrid were now getting super crazy engagement on social media, and the sponsorship deals piled on. His global appeal cemented Real Madrid's position as the most marketable football club on the planet. Everyone was eager to see how this young superstar would adapt to the demands of La Liga and the culture of Real Madrid. But the thing is, La Liga didn't welcome Mbappe with open arms. It slapped him. 3 league games in, he had 0 goals, 0 assists. And Madrid as a team only had 5 points from a possible 9. And it wasn't just the numbers that made it worrying. Mbappe didn't just fail to score, he legit just looked lost. He couldn't create space, he couldn't separate from defenders, he looked uncomfortable receiving the ball with his back to goal. He wasn't beating his man, and his movement was off. The timing was even worse. Naturally, Madrid fans were upset. Some people went too far. I mean, you had people saying that Mbappe doesn't have the technical ability for La Liga, which even looking back is genuinely one of the dumbest footballing takes I've ever seen. This is a guy who had terrorized Spanish teams before in the Champions League. He had done it for years. He had also performed on the biggest stages imaginable. I mean, the guy got a hat-trick in a World Cup final. The issue wasn't his talent, it was the adjustment. Spain is the land of the haram low block. Mbappe was used to space. In the Uber Eats, he would just blaze by everyone. Now he was playing against park buses every single week. Now after a few rough weeks, things finally started to click. He got 2 goals against Real Betis, a goal versus Real Sociedad, a goal and assist versus Espanyol, and then a goal against Alaves. Madrid won these games, so the noise died down, and people assumed they were back on track. Mbappe looked sharper, he looked more confident, and his movement was improving. It felt like the storm had passed. But football never lets you relax for long. Just as he was finding his rhythm, a muscle injury ruled Mbappe out of the Madrid derby. When he returned, he wasn't the same. Over the next 8 La Liga games, he scored just 4 goals. For most players, that would be fine. A goal every 2 games is actually pretty impressive. For Mbappe, though, that's poor. But again, the bigger problem wasn't just the stats. His performances were just awful. We started seeing some genuine Hall of Shame cameos, and nothing summed it up better than his first ever El Clasico.
What Bellingham was trying to do and what your 9, Mbappe is supposed to do. It's always, more often than not, I won't say always, but more often than not, Bellingham trying to make the run, trying to make the team play, running in behind. That's him again trying to break the line. That's your 9. That's your 10. Again, who's going to make the run in behind? Who's going to try to go? It's him. It's Bellingham going, not your number 9. Again, who's making the box? Him again. And I think there is a little frustration. And this one for me is actually, look at him. Look at your 9. Look at where he started. He's going to pass his 9 to make a run in behind. What are we talking about here? You can't win games like that. It's him again going. Look at where your 9 is. Yeah, I will be upset also. Of course I will be upset. This is, for me, not good enough. And I don't think they're playing well as a team, but this is what we were talking about before, Jamie. On the ball, also he has to do way more.
That night, Mbappe forgot what offsides are. Barca played a high line and Mbappe fell for it over and over again. It was embarrassing and completely uncharacteristic. This is a player who had built his career on perfectly timed runs. Then when he was onside, he couldn't finish. And then of course came the moment that went viral. Mbappe doing his chip celebration after scoring a goal that ended up being offside. Players from other countries celebrities were mocking him. The memes were everywhere. This was the biggest El Clasico since Messi and Ronaldo left Spain. The whole world was watching, and Mbappe played like Biabiani. If you got that reference, you're a certified Ultimate Team addict like me. Things didn't improve in the Champions League either. Against Dortmund, Mbappe was poor. He got an assist and Madrid made a comeback, so nobody really talked about it. But that match was all about Vinicius. Mbappe was just a passenger. Then came Milan. A struggling Milan side came to the Bernabeu and embarrassed Madrid. That match exposed something worrying. Mbappe's lack of movement was killing the team. He wasn't stretching defenses, he wasn't pressing, he wasn't linking up with the play. And then came Anfield. Against Liverpool, Mbappe was locked up completely. Connor Bradley put on a defensive masterclass. Bradley went home that night with his car keys in his pocket, his house keys, and Mbappe. It also didn't help that Donatello missed a penalty that night too. Madrid were losing, Mbappe was playing terribly, and the pressure was cooking up. Then somehow things got even worse. Against Athletic Club, Mbappe was given another penalty. They wanted to boost his confidence like a Make-A-Wish kid. That's how bad things had become. He missed again, and Madrid lost again. Poor in La Liga, poor in the Champions League, missing penalties, no confidence, no rhythm. This was supposed to be Ronaldo's heir, and he was looking worse than 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. How do you score multiple penalties in a World Cup final with billions watching, then suddenly miss every penalty at club level? How do you go from the best player in the world conversations to looking like one of the worst players on the pitch? It was obvious that Mbappe was struggling mentally. That athletic performance was the low point, rock bottom. Even Mbappe admitted to that. But the good thing about rock bottom was that there's nowhere to go but up. Ancelotti at the time tweaked the system, and Mbappe locked in. From late December onwards, Mbappe was back. The first real signs came against Atalanta. He scored a beautiful goal using his speed, quick feet, and his signature lethal finish. That goal had everything that made Mbappe special. Timo Mbappe was gone and the real one had arrived. Then came a goal and assist versus Sevilla, a brace versus Las Palmas, and a hat-trick versus Real Valladolid. This was the player Madrid thought they signed. From there, he was scoring constantly, and more importantly, he was scoring decisive goals. 2 goals to beat Villarreal, the only goal in the Madrid derby, and a brace to beat Leganés. Yes, the team with the pickle as their mascot. And then came his peak. In a must-win Champions League tie against City, Mbappe dominated. He had scored in the first leg, but the second leg was something else.
It's Mbappe. Oh, puts the defender on the ground. For Kylian Mbappe to chase. He's in behind. He's lost the goalkeeper. And he scored. He's hitting with his left foot. Hat-trick.
A hat-trick as he sent City and Pep home. What he did to Gvardiol, it should be illegal. Now yes, City weren't great defensively that year. They were pretty much on the same level as Real Valladolid, but that performance was symbolic. Months earlier, Mbappe couldn't beat his man. Now he was chipping goalies, dropping defenders, and aura farming on the biggest stage. His confidence was back. That City performance though ended up being the peak of his 2024-2025 campaign, because after that he disappeared again. Against Atletico, he was invisible. Madrid pretty much only survived because Julian Alvarez slipped during his penalty. Against Arsenal, he was a complete ghost. Forget being outplayed by Saka, he was outplayed by Mikel Merino, a midfielder who was playing up front. Even Martinelli was better. Rice scored 2 free kicks in the first leg. Mbappe at that point hadn't even scored 1 free kick in his career. It was brutal. Now, it wasn't all on Mbappe. Vinny had also underperformed, Ancelotti was getting cooked tactically every single game, and the midfield post-Kroos was non-existent. But Mbappe was held to a different standard, and that's because his peaks were different. At 17, he was destroying teams in the Champions League. At 19, he won a World Cup. At PSG, he was unstoppable. And in the 2022 World Cup final, he was terrifying. That player, though, just did not exist. Even with so many goals that he scored, he didn't look like the same Mbappe we saw from 2021 to 2023. Part of it was the position change. He spent his career on the left wing, now he was more central. We saw the same thing at PSG under Luis Enrique. He had huge numbers but less impact. PSG actually got better when Mbappe left. They pressed more, they were more intense, and there were no ego. Mbappe has never been a consistent presser. He could get away with it in Liga, but not in Madrid, not in La Liga. The fans don't just demand goals, they also demand effort. And when you're walking around in a Champions League quarterfinal playing with your balls, the Bernabeu is gonna whistle you. We even saw a rare moment of frustration from Mbappe, that horrific challenge against Alaves. It was completely out of character and a sign of mental strain. Now the crazy thing is that after everything Mbappe went through in the 2024-2025 season, the slow start, the missed penalties, the whistle, the way he ended 2025 was pretty impressive. By the time the calendar year closed, Mbappe had scored 59 goals in the entire year of 2025, equaling Cristiano Ronaldo's 2013 record for the most goals in a calendar year by a Real Madrid player. No matter how critical you want to be about certain performances of his, that is ridiculous output. And I actually think the context makes it even crazier. Madrid were not dominant at all that year. Even after Ancelotti was gone and Xabi Alonso came in, Madrid were still struggling. They never really found the right balance. While Mbappe started to get lots of goals, Vini fell off hard and Rodrigo didn't look that great.
I told you wrong number!
Bellingham was pushed back further into midfield because of Mbappe, so even he didn't look that great. But throughout all of that chaos, Mbappe kept scoring. Remember his poor El Clasico performance? Yeah, after that one, he got better and better in every single El Clasico. In fact, in his last El Clasico of the 2024-2025 season, he got a hat-trick, but Madrid still lost. The goal that he scored that tied Ronaldo's record came against Sevilla, a late penalty at the Bernabeu in Madrid's final game of the year. Mbappe sent the keeper the wrong way, then hit the Sui celebration, paying tribute to the player he spent his entire career looking up to. After the game, he called Ronaldo his idol, his hero, and for the first time in Madrid, the comparisons didn't feel forced. It felt earned. In the 2025-2026 season, Mbappe had been carrying Madrid, and the turnaround is very impressive when you consider where he was just 1 year earlier. Mbappe himself had admitted that in December of 2024, after that missed penalty against Athletic Club, he had hit rock bottom. His confidence was gone, and there were doubts about whether he would ever truly fit at Madrid. Fast forward, and he's the only reason Los Blancos are winning games. He kind of has that Ronaldo aura now, because he was always scoring goals, even when people were criticizing him. But now it's about his presence. At the start of his Madrid career, Mbappe looked quiet, almost withdrawn. But as the months went on, he became more vocal, more confident, and way more influential on this team. Alonso openly called him a leader, pointing to his experience and the way that teammates look to him in big moments. Madrid definitely rely on him, maybe too much actually, and that only highlights how important he's become. When the team struggles, it's Mbappe that carries the responsibility, and he no longer hides from it. Now, of course, there's been some broader issues with Madrid. There was the Champions League collapse against Arsenal, then there was the Club World Cup embarrassment against PSG. But despite all of that, Mbappe has still been one of the few players who has consistently delivered. Has he been perfect? No. There are still questions about the balance of the team when he plays. He's still not the best at pressing, and you could argue that the team around him isn't functioning the best, despite how good his goal scoring numbers are individually. But after an up and down season, after genuine struggles, and moments where people seriously doubted whether this move would ever feel right, Mbappe ended 2025 on top, matching Ronaldo, carrying Madrid, winning back the crowd. And if this is what a difficult adaptation season looks like at Madrid, then the rest of Europe should probably be very concerned when everything clicks. Because Mbappe is figuring it out. He's playing at the levels that are expected from him. It's just up to Madrid to find the right supporting people to put around him. And if they can do that, the sky is the limit for what this club can achieve.